we are going to talk about real estate investing. This is cool because, I've been doing real estate for a minute now, and I feel like this is still the best kept secret in real estate. So we're going to talk about that today. Before we get started, I want to make sure that people know who you are. They know about you and kind of how you got into the real estate investing world, what you're doing these days. And so let's start there.
Absolutely. So, Nicholas Hewitt. I've been in real estate for quite a while, actually. I won't give you the full story, but essentially started back in 2005 when I graduated from college, Hampton University out in Virginia, and came down here to Houston and actually got started in real estate doing mortgages and real estate at the same time. So that was '05. So you know what came a few years later after that. We had a nice little downturn and, kind of was in and out during that time. But in 2017, really jumped back into things and went back at it full bore. And oddly enough, I got my license in 2017 back mainly because I wanted to invest. That was the main reason why I wanted to jump back in and just have my first child. So I wanted to make sure that I had my license. So when we did buy, that I would be the one leading the charge in that regards. And then, I just kind of caught the bug, right? I caught the bug of being an agent again. Just had a lot of deals and had a lot of good early success. And before I knew it, once the pandemic hit, a lot of opportunities started coming my way. I found a couple of partners. One is a general contractor. Another was in mortgages at the time. And me being a real estate agent, we kind of looked at each other in a room and just said, we've got a skill set here and we've got things that we want to do with investing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why don't we just do this together?
Did you do the Spider-Man meme? Y'all just pointed at each other.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
You're like, you look like me, and you look like you own a business. Let's do business together.
Absolutely, 100%.
Can we talk about that for a second? It's like, how hard is that getting into business with people that, because you hear all these horror stories, man, of these contractors ghosting people and, business partners getting crazy mad, suing each other, all these different things. So, what is that world like, man? Like, what makes someone decide I want to trust two other human beings with hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, I think the key word that you just said there was trust. When we first got together, we all knew what we wanted to do, and we were kind of all pursuing that in our own little worlds. And then a friend of mine, a mutual friend, looked at all three of us because he knew the other person. I didn't know the other person, the third person. I just knew the guy who was in mortgages. And he said, I've got a friend that's a real estate agent. I've got a friend that's a contractor. And I've got myself who does mortgages. And he said, hey, he sent the group text and said, hey, let's jump on a call real quick. I just want to introduce and, see what we have here. We all kind of jumped on a call, and before we knew it, it was a matter of just like, it was almost as if we had known each other for years. There was a relationship already between, a couple of us, but the fact that we jumped into it and we immediately, when we started having these conversations and came up with this idea of forming a partnership together, it was as if we had already been doing it for years. And so the trust factor was already there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a great point that you just brought out.
Yeah, I think it's hard because, a couple of years ago I got into business with a friend. We were gonna flip some houses, and life got in the way. He had a kid, and I think one of the things that I always get worried about is if I like someone and I get into business with them, am I gonna find out that I don't like someone? Mind you, he and I are still really close. Went and visited him over the summer in California, but I think that's something that I think about when you're getting into business people. If you're a real estate investor, 100%, you need to find the right people that you can plug in with. And I think if you're getting into business with people and doing this, you got to make sure these are your people. Because this industry, this real estate industry, man, it is wild. Especially from the investing side, just some of the things I've experienced, some of the people that I've met, and I'm like, I don't know how you operate as a human with some of the things you're telling me. This is crazy, and it's hard to trust people like that.
Yeah.
So y'all got into business together. It's great.
It's funny because I liken real estate, whether I'm right or wrong in this, I liken real estate to marriage, right? There's going to be some ups and some downs, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself when you jump into real estate. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, whether or not you can stick through this. And so, when we formed that partnership, one of the things that we stuck to for right from the get-go was we said we're going to put everything on paper. We like each other, we trust each other, but we're going to write this down.
Yeah, money changes people.
Money changes people, and we all understood that. We all had an understanding that if we didn't make this a legal relationship first, that we weren't going to necessarily go down that path of we'll just figure it out when we cross that.
There's no like spit and handshakes in this. Like
none of that.
I think about like we actually just entered into a partnership. Like I signed legal documents Wednesday with Place, and I was reading the documents and it was covering like what could potentially terminate the relationship and just certain nuances. And like you think some of these things should, like, you don't need to put them into paper, but these exist and legal documents exist because some yahoo went and did this thing, or it's a CYA thing. And I think with real estate investing, like knowing the people you're getting into business with is so important, because then you already have an idea, but if you're with the right people, you're aligned with the right people, the document should make sense and we should all be on the same page.
Yeah.
I think sometimes what happens is, people get excited, and I heard this from a friend of ours. He was like, yeah, man, like we flipped a house together with this guy and it took a year and a half, and I didn't read the contract, and I was just so excited to invest in my first property, and I never want to do this again. And I'm like, oh, sweet summer child, like you first of all read the contract, but you got to know the people you get. Like he was like, oh yeah, like I knew this guy for a couple of years. He was in my BNI group, and I'm like, I don't know him from John, right? Like, and it was just crazy to hear when you get into a business together. Like I think about it with my wife. I'm in business with my wife.
Yeah.
We had to make some commitments to each other. On my documents I just signed, it said how much ownership she gets if we get divorced of this company that I just signed up with. And I was like, I guess I better like her, right? Like I better trust her. But in the real estate investor realm, if you're listening to this and I don't want this to scare you. I don't want you to think, hey, I shouldn't go and get into business with people, but you should be in business with the right people. Absolutely. And that means so much. Okay, so you guys got into business together. You started investing together. Talk to me about the past few years. Obviously, the pandemic was baller, and everybody made lots of money, and your flips were probably super profitable, and everything was great, right?
Boy, how I wish that were so true. We came in, we formed our partnership around 2022, going into 2023, all that. So it was at the tail end.
Oh man, y'all woke up one day and said, you know what? We're going to pick the worst time in the market.
Yeah.
We're already paying 11.5% on hard money. Might as well pay 7.5% for interest rates.
Yeah. The funny thing is when we initially formed the partnership, things were still hot.
Yeah.
But, and this is why it's important to get in business with good people. We also looked down the road and said, we're not going into this with the mindset that the market's going to always be like this. We're not going into it thinking that, hey, we're going to put some duct tape on a house and it's going to sell for $20K over asking price. We didn't go into it with that mindset. We went into it with the mindset that this market's going to end sooner rather than later, whether it does or doesn't, but we're going to prepare for it as if that's going to be the case. And so that's the good thing about having the partnership that we have. And it's also good too to kind of be with some personalities that are different than your own, because you're going to have different sets of eyeballs looking at scenarios, looking at contracts, deals, things like that. So we made sure that we set some pretty stiff ground rules in the beginning. And when we got started, like I said, the market was hot, got our first property, went to an auction, and we had no idea what we were doing. We went to an auction and had some cash in our pocket and just got blown out. We were thinking, oh, we got all this cash. We're going to get a deal. We're going to walk out of here, maybe 2 properties. Who knows? We went there, just got outbid within a matter of literally 2 minutes.
Just out of curiosity, because I've never been to an auction. I have a lot of friends in this industry who do that. But was everyone wearing a cowboy hat and a handlebar mustache?
No, only half of them. Only, only
Y'all, if you want to know, ironically enough, cattle auctions and foreclosure auctions carry the same people at them. It's great.
oddly enough, they do. Yeah,
But I mean, also like there's deals to be made there.
absolutely.
But so y'all got shown what was up day one, huh?
Oh yeah, we got it handed to us the very first time, and so, but it was great because we, again, the right partnerships, right? We came back to the table and looked at our situation and said, okay, we learned something. We didn't look at it as, oh man, this sucks. Like, how are we going to do this? This is never going to work. We came back to it and said, all right, we learned something.
Yeah.
We learned a lot. We're going to change up our strategy, and that's literally been the case for us from day one. That's kind of how we looked at every scenario.
Just adapt.
We always have that mindset of we're just going to adapt. We never lose. We just learn.
So, how long did it take you guys to get your first flip?
So it took us about 3 months. Actually, it took us about from the moment that we actually started, because we got the LLC together, we got all that necessary legal stuff together, and then we started looking, and probably within the first 3 months. So we went to the first 2 auctions, got nothing. Right. By the third one came around, we got a little bit more cash in our account. And then we also learned, like, all right, this is the ones where we're going to go after. We went in there much more prepared than we did the first 2 times.
So talk about that criteria real quick.
Yeah.
Tell me whether it's auction or whether you're looking at a property, off market or even on the MLS. What are the things you're looking for to go, I want to buy that property. I know it makes sense. Give me let's get micro level a little bit.
Sure.
What criteria you're looking for, and then also kind of I know what formulas look like because I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about that.
So one of the first things that we learned for us, not to say that this is the case for everybody, but for us, we wanted to target single family properties. The first property that we actually thought, which is a crazy story too, first property that we initially thought we had under contract was they were condos. Yeah, a lot of fun trying to flip a condo, right?
Yeah.
Not to say it can't be done. It just wasn't our niche. It wasn't something that we were going
I
to
think we have 3 flipped condos listed right now, and I just want them to go away.
There you go. There you go. So you understand my pain. Oddly enough, we got our first, what we thought were our first deals. It was 5 condos under contract, or not under contract. We purchased them, right? We won the bids, so to speak. Went out to the condos and to check them out, kind of maybe put our eyeballs on them and actually try to speak to the current tenants, and found out very shortly that actually the person that previously owned the condos had actually paid the taxes probably 20 minutes before the auction started. The auction documents just weren't updated.
That's crazy.
So here we are, we've paid the X amount, I think it was like maybe, I don't know, $25,000, $30,000 that we paid for these 5 condos, and gave the check to the county and, to the constable, let them know, we got our document, our receipt showing that we were the owners. We go out to the property, and there was a property manager there that said, no, these properties are still in the possession of my boss, essentially, right? Of the owner. And we were like, no, here's our receipt. We own these. The county says we own these.
Right.
We own them. The constable, called the constable. He'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Called the constable and said, oh yeah, about that. Yeah, they actually just paid just before the auction, and it was our mistake. We shouldn't have sold you those properties. We're going to give you your money back. Oh, but it's going to take about 30 to 45 days to get you your cash back.
Yeah, because the government doesn't move fast at all.
Not at all.
Oh man.
Not at all. So, I mean, naturally, you get that kind of a gut punch with your first, because
Sure.
The roller coaster, just like we talked about, right? The roller coaster, and we went in there and we got our first deal after a couple of gut punches, and we're thinking, oh man, we're at a 10 now, right? We're about to get rocking and rolling. We're starting to get
$6,000 a condo. Yeah, numbers
easily,
make sense.
easily. And then we're thinking, hey, maybe we even keep one of the condos and we sell the other 2, and you know what I mean? We'll had all kind of plans in place and got the ball rolling, just to find out we had to go back to the drawing board. So we did, but we learned, right? We started doing a lot more research, and when we did that, we ended up finding out that there's this little board that sits at the auction, which we saw, you didn't pay too much attention to, that shows you up to the minute accuracy of what is going on at that particular time. So even though a property could be going up for auction, if you look at that board, it'll show you that, oh, it was just paid about 10 minutes ago.
Mm.
So we learned that little lesson.
So I guess my question here is like, what was your criteria to like pick those condos out? Because like these condos are now like we've told our investor like,
Yeah.
hey, like you guys not buying condos right now because they're just sitting. I mean, houses are certain houses are sitting on the market anyway, but condos specifically, like everybody and their mother has condos listed right now.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is after we were so excited to get a property, I think we jumped into it without realizing. And me as the agent, I kind of stepped up at that point and said, you know, one thing we should also learn from this is that the market isn't too kind to condos, not for what we want to do, not for the strategy that we want to employ. And so that was another thing that we kind of learned from that was like, hey, maybe it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise there that we didn't get that. And I had that conversation with the guys and we all agreed that, all right, condos aren't going to be something we even go after. And maybe this was a blessing in disguise. All right, let's move on. Right. Yeah. So now single family properties is all we're going to go after. We wanted to kind of hit that niche where at the time, right around 250,000, something under $300,000.
So yeah,
in that pocket where it was maybe a first-time home buyer, it was young families that would really be, because what was important to us is that we provided a product to a family that was really going to appreciate the quality that we put into the home, right, at an affordable cost.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that was what we targeted, and that was what we ended up getting on our very first deal, was what we intentionally went after when we had that mindset of, okay, here's our criteria, here's what we're going to go after. And then we found a bunch of properties on that list that fit that criteria. And we were very specific and very targeted, very intentional with what we went after when we got that first property. And that was what
that's amazing, because I think a lot of people will be like, oh man, if I go buy a $600,000 house and flip it, I can make, $300,000. And I think what a lot of people miss is that if you make 10K on a flip, you did well, right? And some people will get into wholesale and be like, that's my assignment fee. Yeah, buddy, we get it.
Sure.
Right? You bought it stupid cheap.
Sure. And
you're assigning it and you're making out. I want my wholesalers to make their money. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But I think the average person who says, I want to get into real estate investing, they need to look at this is, if we can present it to the market in a way that gets it sold fast, and we make 15, 20K, that's a win. Like at net 15, 20K.
Yeah.
We're good, man. Go put that into the next house.
And to that point, I think that's something that, unfortunately, if you haven't done any flips and if you're new to investing, your purview is kind of just what you see on social media, some of the things that you see on TV, HGTV. And so you think that $50,000, $60,000, like that's the only reason why I'm in this, right? But as you get into it, you realize that no, some of those singles, those singles that you hit are 10, 15, maybe even 20,000. And yeah, sure, you keep at it, you're going to hit those 50, 60, 70,000 plus properties as well. But a lot of those in betweens are going to be those singles that you're going to hit, and we came to appreciate those as well.
Well, and I think the other thing too is like understanding how to buy a property, and let's talk about that for a minute, because a lot of people get emotional about investing in real estate, and this feels like a good deal. No, is it a good deal, or do you feel like it's a good deal?
No feeling.
70% minus repairs is the standard; it's not the exception.
Right.
And I think that most people don't really understand that, like, you should not be buying 75, 80%, especially if you don't know the numbers. That's why we walk the properties and we understand the numbers with our contractors. And I'm not working with a contractor that's not giving me a bid, right? If he can't walk the property and tell me this is gonna be 50K, I don't want to work with him. Right? Like, oh, I'll get you the quote in a couple days. No, I need to know today, and I need you to be able to like have the experience to walk with me. So anyway, I'm getting at with this is I think the numbers is such a big part, and I'm a math nerd, so like I love the numbers of it. I love going in and knowing, okay, these are my expected holding costs, right? I know I'm going to hold it for 6 months, right? Right now, that's the average holding time for a lot of investors is 6 months, right? 3 months to get it ready, sometimes 3 months on market,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes it takes longer to get ready for the market and
Yeah.
things like that. So all of those things combined, we need to realistically be buying it even cheaper. And when you get it below that 70, 60, 50, then you're the rock star. But you also, what you do is you hedge your bets for the crazy stuff that happens. Because,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, we live in Texas. Foundation is always a problem, right? Roofs, because the insurance companies are crazy now. Even holding costs for insurance has gone up so much, right? Because so when I think about investing in real estate, I really think about like, where is the best opportunity to go buy at the steepest discount, because I want to hedge my bets against everything. If I make extra money, great, but I want my numbers to be cut and dry based off the calculations, and also hedging my bets against random things happening. The AC goes out or whatever. So when you guys are buying properties, are you underwriting the deals or somebody else, or how does that work?
So both.
Okay.
Essentially, right? So I do a lot of the underwriting as the agent. One of the things that we've kind of come to appreciate, and one of the things that we've kind of tweaked as time has gone on, is that we've got a specific criteria. We got a spreadsheet, right? It's a very detailed, very well thought out spreadsheet that encounters all of the costs. It accounts for every one of the costs that we're going to have to encounter with a flip, right? And so one of the things that we've learned over time is that, it's good to stick with, maybe one or two vendors when it comes to these deals that you're doing on a regular basis. So we have our lender, we know what the costs are going to be, we have a great relationship, and we also kind of bump our underwriting against what they think, obviously, right? Because as our lender partner, they have a very important stake in this as well.
Yep.
Obvious reasons, right? And so every deal that we do, it gets underwritten essentially twice. And it's underwritten by me. Obviously, we'll pass that on to my partners as well, so they can kind of put their eyeballs on it. But really, the second set of underwriting comes through our lender and my lending partner.
And I guess I should have clarified, if you're watching this, you've never invested in real estate before, underwriting is basically the process of crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure that the numbers make sense, that it's a profitable deal. Underwriting in the like multifamily world is a little bit different. There's a lot more going on there, but in this scenario, Nicholas is taking a look at this and saying, hey, this makes sense, and then running it against the hard money lender in this case. Hard money lender is going to run a desktop appraisal and say, yeah, this is worth X amount of dollars after repairs, and okay, cool, we'll lend on this.
Yeah, and we've gotten so good at it to the point, and we've gotten such a synergy with the lender, is that a lot of times I'll give my opinion on what the numbers are going to look like, and what what our cash to close is going to look like and all that with our lender. I'll pass it on to him to say, hey, can you give me your estimation on what you're thinking on this? And those numbers are usually within a few $1,000s of each other.
I love that. Awesome. I love that, because that's hard to do, especially running CMAs is a skill. It is something that we do as real estate agents all the time, but in the investing world, like, we're not just playing with someone else's money now. We're playing with our money. Absolutely. Right? And it's just as important dealing with clients, but in the investing world, it's like, it could be the difference between you actually being profitable on a flip or not. In this market, this world, like, that's the numbers matter more than ever now.
They absolutely do.
Again, holding costs, time on market. But I think that comes back to buying houses in areas that make sense and have low days on market.
Yes.
Right? Because I went and walked a house yesterday that had just gotten flipped, and there's a lot of pendings nearby. Right, that house is gonna go fast. We actually looked at it. We were thinking about buying it, and it just didn't make sense. But that house was nice.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, when you do this right and you buy it in the right neighborhood, it's gonna sell. It was incoming soon. They had interest already.
Yeah.
So my advice here to anyone looking to invest in real estate is partner with someone like Nicholas, who does this for a living as a real estate agent, but also invest in real estate, because it gives you the best shot. Because a lot of people can't walk a property and say, I need to do $75,000 in rehab. They're not going to walk a property or look at a neighborhood and say, yes, this neighborhood's going to sell fast. You need to know, and there's programs out there, and AI has gotten so good. But the reality is like, work with someone who does this, right? Because I don't like going to new doctors, like new-ish doctors. they can be nice, but like I want an experienced professional.
Right.
And in the flip world, I don't want a brand new contractor who's cutting his teeth. I want the dude who's done 100 flips already, right? Or the
100%.
guy who's out there doing all these projects and things like that. I know I can trust. I have a contractor right now that when I know that I call him, I'm calling him because I can't do it and I trust him to do it and it's done. I don't have to worry about it. And I don't care how much he tells me it's going to cost. I know it's going to get done right.
Right.
Right. And I think that is so important, is partnering with those right people. But okay, let's talk about this, because I think I didn't want this to be like an intro to real estate investing conversation, but you've really positioned yourself as an expert in the market, as a real estate agent and an investor. And it's 2026. I can say that now. It's
Right.
exciting.
We're here.
Are you guys looking for flips this year?
We are.
Because you just closed a flip, right?
Just closed on a flip. Yeah, we're hungry and we're out looking for one. I actually just underwrote one today a little bit and sent it off to the lender to get a little bit more, confirmation on it to see if it's something we're gonna.
Is it in Friendswood again?
Actually, this one is closer to the A-Leaf area.
Ooh,
Yeah,
like the SWAT or just like normal aliens?
normal A-Leaf. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk about this, and I think this is the downfall of the person getting into real estate investing.
Mhm.
Most people will look at a neighborhood like Third Ward,
Mhm.
Sunnyside, and go, well, everyone's buying there, I need to buy there, right? Because they're gentrifying the area.
Sure.
The problem that I see, and this is coming from experience, they've already done the gentrifying.
Mhm.
They've already purchased up the neighborhood.
Mhm.
We've already missed a lot of the opportunity zone in that area because it's an oversaturation. So when you're looking at things like A-Leaf, because there's a revitalization going on out there too, and
Yep.
I mean, media and culture's really brought A-Leaf back on the map.
100%. Yep.
Shout out Toby.
Right.
But I think there's this. Is that the next area? Because I think like Montrose and the Heights and how they gentrified and revitalized that, and Edo. I mean, Edo's crazy
Oh, my
now.
goodness, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then they did Sunnyside. I mean, they're just making a giant circle. Is that what?
Well, the thing about it is, with a lot of these areas, a lot of it is there's opportunity just about everywhere, right?
Sure.
There's opportunity just about everywhere. The key is, one, you as an individual investor, or investor group, partnership, whatever it may be, you have to also understand what's going to work for you, right? Because there's different price points. A-Leaf Heights, 2 different price points. Edo, another price point, right?
Yeah.
So these are different areas that you have to understand. When you go into these particular areas, you're going to also have to be able to flip to that specification in that particular area.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that we look back on, we had 2 properties going at once in the Clear Lake area, right? And we loved it because these 2 properties, although they were about 5 minutes away from each other, 2 totally different neighborhoods.
Sure.
Totally different neighborhoods. We bought one, the margins on it were pretty thin and pretty tight, and we were thinking, oh man, we might have bitten off a little bit too much on this one.
Yeah.
Bought another one that was an older home, much older than the other, and the margins were so wide, we were like, oh man, we're gonna make a killing on this one.
Let me guess. The flip,
What do you think happened?
the exact opposite happened on each.
100%.
Made a killing on the thinnest margins, and
100%.
you got your butt rocked on the other one.
100%.
Yeah, that's hard, man. Especially out in that Clear Lake area. Anything that Texas City, anything that like either flooded or because the Texas City Clear Lake is like flip central.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy. I mean, I think,
A lot of risk though too.
but again, comes back to being around the right people that will hold you accountable and say, hey, we need to buy this steeper,
Yep.
right? That's your negotiate. Because if you're investing in real estate, like you're still negotiating with the seller. Like you're not, unless you're buying off the MLS. If you're retail flipping, like we need to have a conversation. Please call us and we will walk you through how to not do that.
Right. Please.
You need to negotiate steeper, right?
100%.
And again, like I was talking about hedging your bets,
Yeah.
not buying in opportunity zones that you think are opportunity zones, like Galveston. Galveston just took a dump in the past couple years. Like it was STR Central,
Yeah.
and now it's like
Stay away.
yeah.
Yeah.
That I think that's one of my biggest regrets as a real estate agent. A friend of mine, unfortunately, bought this flip. The numbers look great.
Yeah.
Numbers, I think, bought it at like 480, 500, worth 650, 675.
Yeah.
Very cosmetic rehab, 25, 30K. Couldn't get it sold. It's like a triplex.
Yep.
And I will say that is my one of my biggest regrets in real estate
Yeah,
is
I mean, and to your point, that you made earlier, the experience factor,
right.
that's a part of it, right? Because, like you said, a person that's coming into this real estate game, investing, and they're brand new, and even if they've got a little bit of experience where they've just knocked everything out the park, there's something coming where they're gonna have to learn a lesson, right? We've
Right.
all been there. If you've been in this, you haven't been. I always say you haven't really been in real estate until you've gotten your butt kicked a time or two,
Yeah.
right? That because that's where the experience really comes in. That's where you're learning those lessons, and that's where you can actually take those lessons and use them for future situations, so you can see what's coming ahead of you,
Yeah,
for
and
your
I
clients and for yourself.
honestly, man, I think we're at this point where the market is like kind of healing. There's this, sellers are still getting hit, but you're starting to see people want more affordability. The market's healing. Buyers are out there wanting more. I think you're going to see more of what you guys are doing with the affordability flips,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I caution, if you're thinking about investing right now in real estate, um, if you're just doing flips, and this is a flipping episode. If you want to listen about long-term hold, you can listen to a different episode. But really buying super steep and just hedging your bets. Plan for as much as possible to go wrong, because it probably will.
Yeah.
And that way you can be prepared for it, instead of, I like I said, my friends who did a flip they had no business doing a flip with this person. It was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
They were like a year over and like 100K over budget,
Oh man.
and just like all this craziness in a neighborhood that should have took them 3 months,
Yeah.
should have took them, X amount of dollars. And I just want to caution you, because a lot of people are trying to put their money somewhere right now.
Yeah.
The stock market's healed a bit,
Sure.
which is great, but
Sure.
a lot of people started taking money out this past year because they wanted to put their money somewhere else.
You want to diversify.
If you were going to flip, first of all, use someone else's money. And as we wrap this up, I don't want to get into flipping 101 and like how to do this, but use someone else's money. Private money exists for a reason. Hard money is one of the best ways to get a flip done with as little out of pocket as possible.
Absolutely.
A lot of the times, as long as you buy correct, and again, you underwrite it and then they're going to underwrite it, as long as the numbers make sense, you're out of pocket very little money to go get into a flip if the numbers are right.
Absolutely.
As we're wrapping up, I just want to be very intentional. Like, if this is something that you want to do, you've never done this before, call someone like Nicholas, please, because this is something that you need someone to hold your hand. You do not want to just go to the auction house by yourself, buy a property, overpay for it, and then be like, what the heck did I just do? I just mortgaged my whole family's future on this. And so, Nicholas, if people want to get a hold of you and find out more about real estate investing, flipping, A-Leaf, Edo, Montrose Heights, whatever, it doesn't matter, Third Ward, Sunnyside, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the social medias, right? I've got Nicholas Hewley Realtor on IG, Nicholas Hewley on Facebook. Just DM me, contact me there. Of course, my phone number, 832-483-5103. Contact me. I'm here.
Man, I was really hoping you'd hit us with the Mike Jones there.
I was close, right? I mean, I should have had a little bit more cadence to it.
8004. I want to put this out there. I think that something that's commendable that you're doing, like, you guys are putting good into the world with your flips, like finding things that target the right people, that make housing affordable. I think we're in a world where housing needs to become affordable again,
Yeah.
but without the gentrification that comes with it, because it's just this vicious cycle we have.
Yeah.
People get put into homes and then they get foreclosed on,
Yeah.
and then it happens every single time. It's just this vicious cycle. So seeing more and more investors go out into the world and put good out there, make things affordable. I mean, I saw y'all flipping Friends. It was gorgeous.
Yeah,
I think
that's
300, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's something that's very important to us. Ideally, we like to stick right around that 300, hopefully below that.
Yeah.
Because we know that there's a market out there of people that are looking for that, first-time home buyers,
Yeah.
young families that are looking for that, to get into a nice, affordable home that actually is quality, that has a lot of quality to it. That's beautiful in a nice neighborhood. That's something that they can really be proud of.
Was your flip profitable?
Very much so.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you want to know the details, so I'm not going to let him talk about it on this episode. If you want to know the details about his latest flip in Friendswood, which, by the way, is one of the best school districts in the area,
Yes, it is.
if you want to know more about the flip, you can reach out to him on IG. it will be one of the best ways you can get an actual case study of someone who's actively investing in real estate. And just tell me this:
Mhm.
it how much you guys make on this flip?
On this particular flip, it was over 40,000.
That's pretty good money. You make 40K on a flip, even with two partners. That's pretty
Yeah.
good money. So if you want to know more about that, reach out to Nicholas. But that is all we have for today. And man, I thank you so much for joining me on this. This is cool because I love talking about real estate in general, but I love talking about some of the things that people don't know they can be doing with their money. So this was a good one.
Thank you.